Free your mind now.
El Comandante Fidel Alejandro Castro Ruz was a Cuban revolutionary and politician who was the leader of Cuba from 1959 to 2008, serving as the prime minister from 1959 to 1976 and president from 1976 to 2008, when he handed over to his brother Raul Modesto Castro Ruz, who also ruled from 2008 to 2018. The towering figure stayed true to his Marxist-Leninist ideology even after the collapse of the Soviet Union. If there is one continent that benefited from the rise of Fidel Castro as a leader of Cuba, it's Africa. Apart from his contribution to the liberation struggles on the African continent in the past, some countries like Ghana still benefit from health care services provided by Cuban doctors who visit the country on a rotational basis. In Uganda, Cuba has heavily invested in medical human resource support by sending its senior medical personnel to Mbarara University of Science and Technology, MAS, to share knowledge and skills with the Ugandan doctors. Back to the 1950s, when Castro and his cohorts, including Ernesto Che Guevara and his brother Paul, were plotting to free Cuba from the right-wing dictator Fulgencio Batista, extending his liberation struggle beyond the Americas was probably not in the plan. But with the rise of the Black Power movements in 1960s as well as the Pan-African movements in 1970s, Cuba gave quite some noticeable support for the liberation of Africa from the colonial masters. Fidel Castro joined two major battles on the African continent in Angola and Ethiopia at the height of the Cold War, as he was convinced that the global stage for the world revolution was happening in Africa. Responding to calls for help from Angolan Marxist guerrilla leader Agostinho Neto, who had seized Rwanda during a bloody war from the Portuguese, Castro sent troops to Angola to help Agostinho conquer Rwanda from Portuguese forces. Cuba's involvement in African battles, however, came at a very heavy cost, as more than 4,300 Cuban forces are believed to have died on the battlefront in African conflicts, half of them in Angola alone. Castro's love and support for Africa's liberation led him to meet with some of the continent's leaders at the time, including Patrice Lumumba of DR Congo, Ghana's Kwame Nkrumah, Sam Nujoma of Namibia, Nelson Mandela of South Africa, Colonel Muammar Gaddafi of Libya, and Robert Mugabe of Zimbabwe. Cuban soldiers are documented to have fought alongside Namibians and South Africans to prevent the apartheid regime from spreading all over Southern Africa. Cuban troops have since the 1960s served in Algeria, Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Equatorial Guinea, Sierra Leone, and Libya. The man behind the command and control of all those at the time was none other than El Comandante Fidel Alejandro Castro Ruz, who believed that Africa needed to be free from the shackles of the bloody colonialists, who, by the way, are his immediate neighbors. Cuba has been under the embargo by America since March 14, 1958, and one of the reasons, though not officially mentioned, is its brotherly relations with Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, it's our singular honor to present this year's most distinguished Pan-Africanist of all lifetimes posthumous award to Comrade El Comandante Fidel Alejandro Castro Ruz.